Welcome to Talking Giants presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick, and we've got our first mailbag of the 2022 season. It's a victory mailbag. We've got a lot of just like personnel questions. Like this is kind of like going to be more of like a player-by-player kind of breakdown of what we think of them right now through one game. As the season goes along, we get mad about things, and I just start going on rants on the mailbag pod. Justin, how are you?
Bobby Skinner, hello. Still can't believe it. 1-0. I'm back home in the state of New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey, the greatest state in the world.
It's the greatest state in New Jersey.
Don't care what you have to say about Florida. I'm going to a Giants game this Sunday, the first one that I'll be going to in a long time. So I'm really, really excited for that. I'm going to announce it right now. We haven't announced it yet on social media. I'm going with Ethan. I am taking Ethan to the home opener from the NYG weekly show. So let's get into this mailbag, Bobby Skinner. I'm excited for the questions that we got coming up.
Happy for you too. All right, let's first, this episode was brought to you by Nick Gardino.
Ooh.
Gardino. Sean Rahman reminds me of the tackle out of UCLA who moved to guard. Nick Garvera. Jack Bagley. I'm going to just do everything in an Italian accent.
Yes,
Frankie
please.
Brown. Frank is a low-key great name. James Murnane, not Murnane. His name is Murnane, not Murnane. Alex Martin, my favorite Martian. Keith Gelman. Nick Marchionda. Just John, which is how my old boss's number is saved in my phone. Just Jon. CeeLo Guns.
Really?
Justin pisses me off. He's going to see some guns. George M. Jeff, my name is Jeff, Josh Turner, Joe Schlosser, and Anthony Zarro. Justin, who are these people?
Can't believe Josh Turner of the Dodgers. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/talkinggiants. Remember when I used to say backslash like a freaking loser? Not a loser anymore because the Giants are winners. Patreon.com/talkinggiants, $2 a month plus some other tiers. You get to hang out with us live while we record the shows. Bobby Skinner will send you some stickers, magnets in the mail, and then also you have the chance twice a month to be entered in the shirt raffles. We just dropped 2 awesome shirts this week. Run the Damn Ball, because it's Run the Damn Ball 2022. The Giants officially had a more efficient game on an EPA basis running the ball than they did throwing the ball, which usually even when you run the ball well, it's still not more efficient than throwing the ball. But nope, it was this game. And then Day Balls of Steel is the second shirt that we dropped, where if you've seen South Park, Bobby, you could probably describe it better than I can.
It's a great shirt. Just check it out. Just Google Talking Giants merch and it'll pop up.
You want to get right into it.
Yeah, let's get into this mailbag. Take it away, Steve.
Mail time.
Mail time. The mail's here. Come on. Bye, guys. Here's the mail, it never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail.
All right, thanks, Steve from Blues Clues. Justin, let's get into the mail.
Owen Kane at Owen Kane 12. I'm going to take this one first and answer it, but here's the question. Based on some of the film I saw on Evan Neal, it looked like he would get beat up, then reset, and would shut down the guy. What are your thoughts on his progress so far after this game? Bobby, I edited your offensive line report this morning, and the thing that stuck out to me most about Evan Neal, and I think the reason why he's going to have a good rookie season. I think we were expecting him to have maybe like a great rookie season, like a really above average rookie season. I think he's going to have a good rookie season. I think he's going to have some struggles, and you're going to talk about that. But I think what's going to save Evan Neal this year is just his insane arm length, his insane length overall, and his grown man strength. The fact that he just has all that from day one, I'm confident that the rest will eventually follow. What do you think?
His length and overall strength is helping. I didn't mean to rhyme that. And there's been improvement from training camp. So I broke it down in the O-line report. He's having trouble adjusting to this Bobby Johnson. We're not going to vertical set. We're going to be aggressive with our pass pro. And it's to just kind of break it down in simple terms is think about, pass blocking in a straight line back or almost, an 85-degree angle and then doing it at a 45-degree angle. They're being more aggressive with it, and he's just not getting to his landmarks, getting to the spot in his pass set where he wants to on time. But where the improvement has come from training camp, in training camp he was having that same issue, but his feet weren't going, and guys were getting around the corner on him. In this game, again, some good pass rushers from the Tennessee Titans, his feet were going. So these reps were not pretty, but he was getting a good result at the end of most of them, being able to wash guys around. So he's going to have some rookie struggles, and he's going to have some bad games. There's going to be some games this year where he's bad, like he gave up 1 pressure and 0 sacks in this game. That's good results, but it wasn't overall like a good game if you just judged him against every tackle in the NFL. Better than Ikem Ekwonu and Charles Cross, who both gave up 2 sacks. But you know what? I think Evan Neal will have a game where he has 2 sacks, so don't take the victory lap yet on that. But he's just having a hard time getting to a spot on those 45 sets. But again, his foot speed is good enough, and that length of, just his pure size and strength is helping him win the war, even though he loses the battle a good amount of times.
Yeah, you pointed it out here and there, but I was just I was watching Evan Neal and just looking at how long his arms are, and especially considering Andrew Thomas. So I think Andrew Thomas has pretty long arms too, but I think Evan Neal...
Thomas's are longer, but Neal's just a bigger human.
Yeah, man. So even like when they're standing next to each other, Evan Neal just kind of towers over Andrew Thomas. So I think that is going to be a huge advantage for Evan Neal this year, even though there may be some elements of his game that are a little bit behind. And I do trust that eventually, I think he's looked more comfortable now in week 1 than like the second week of training camp, right?
Oh, absolutely. Again, he's moving his feet through the blocks. He may not be getting there on time, but he's moving his feet through the blocks, and that is good improvement from when we were pretty worried about him being just flat out bad during training camp. When we spent a lot of time watching him in training camp, and there was times where he just looked really bad and he wasn't moving his feet through the blocks.
He just wasn't getting out of his stance in training camp. That was an issue too. So
the thing I'm a little worried about that could be long-term is, he always had the balance issue that showed up in the run game a little bit, and that can show up in the pass pro as well. He is top-heavy. Like, that's something we talked about in his draft profile, his player profile projection, and now, that's not something that just showed up. Like, that's something, but he's got to get more confident, and we saw it with Andrew Thomas in his growth. Thomas, grew confidence his rookie year. His and then last year was a very confident player, and then now he's just dominant. He's got to grow confidence in what he's doing because he's not getting to his sets on time, and he's leaning and lunging. His feet are crossing up at times because he's worried about getting beat around the corner. So he's got to figure it out. It's gonna take time. So give him time to figure it out. But I 100% believe that Evan Neal will figure it out.
Yeah. We'll see if the Panthers have a specific edge rusher that they like to set up on a certain side. We have Brian Burns and Yetur Gross-Matos next week. So hopefully Andrew Thomas is taking the brunt of Brian Burns. And, hey, we'll have Evan Neal going up against Yetur Gross-Matos, who's kind of gross, not in a good way.
Yeah, so Neal's got some stuff to work through, but overall I think you should. It was an encouraging game week 1, but there was some ugly reps in there. Like there were some really ugly reps in there that Evan Neal had. Like if he was a 4th-year player, we wouldn't have been happy with his performance. And
when we're talking about the run blocking, I want to talk about why do you think the left side of the line had way more success than the right side of the line too? But I want to save that for we have a run blocking question here with Bobby Johnson. But next question. Big Blue Season at Big Blue Season _ speculation on why Toney isn't being played as much as he should.
So this actually hasn't been talked about as much as I thought it would be.
We won. If we lost, it would be the only thing that's being talked about.
Yeah. And Daniel Jones' game would have been under more critique if we had lost.
Yes.
So obviously there's a lot of unknown with this right now. Side note, once again, can the beat reporters get us any info on this? Please, for the love of God, get us some information on this. You're back in the locker room. This should be an easy one to figure out.
I feel like they are though.
Well, they haven't told us anything.
I mean, I feel like they're dropping. At least
they're dropping hints off of press conferences.
Well, I think they're also dropping hints based off of that this is the second regime that's treating him the same
That's
way.
just that's context clues. But figure out what. Give us concrete stuff, not just like we can make those same observations from the outside in. So there's been a few arguments on it, and I also we talked about it after Sunday, and I want to make sure people know this is more than just he didn't practice a ton. There's no way, because if it's just the playbook. Well, Toney was at all of camp, and he practiced fully the last 2 weeks. He practiced fully the first week and a half. He was out there with the team. It's like even like Sterling Shepard before he came back from PUP. It's not like he was sitting with the team during practice. He was just on a side field running, getting rehab workouts in. Obviously Shepard's a totally different player, so it's comparing apples to oranges with that. But they didn't only play him 7 snaps and 4 passing plays because of playbook issues. Because if you can't coach a guy up to know 20 plays, then you're a bad coach. So that's not the reason. Because they, like Kadarius Toney knows at least some of the playbook. Like it's not rocket science or rocket appliances, as Ricky would say. So there's just more to that. And again, we're not talking about a scrub player. Like Kadarius Toney is essentially the biggest weapon as a wide receiver. He is the biggest weapon as a wide receiver on this team. Kenny Golladay played bad. Sterling Shepard had a great moment, but we all know Kadarius Toney is a bigger weapon than those guys. So I don't know exactly what it is, but both sides just need to figure this out. Okay, because Kadarius Toney's too much of a talent for to go to waste. And I think I know that Toney's not easy to deal with. I know he's not. Both sides. And Kadarius Toney, get with it, man. We talked about this, when he missed OTAs and people are like, it's not mandatory. It's like that stuff matters. Okay, so if you don't think stuff like that is having a part in what's going on right now,
it is right now.
And obviously, missing camp does have some to do with it, but it's not it's not the reason he only played 7 snaps. So basically, what my thing is, it's like they just figure it out. Because if this turns into a dick measuring contest, man, nobody wins, and it's gonna lead to an ugly divorce, and that's not a win. That will not be a win for either side.
I think the Giants are the biggest losers out of all of them, right? Out of everybody, Kadarius Toney is still going to collect his first-round player contract, when it's all said and done, right? If he's still on the team. The Giants, week 1, did not have a good passing offense. Numbers-wise, it was bad. Efficiency-wise, it was bad. Yeah, Daniel Jones completes a lot of his passes, and you have the explosive play in there. But if it's not for Saquon Barkley, this is a really, really bad game. And in every single Sunday, to rely on your running game like that to produce explosive plays, yes, Saquon Barkley can do it if he's back in that 2018, mindset and player. But I don't want to rely on that. This is we have Brian Dable and Mike Kafka. I don't want to be relying on the running game being the thing that's going to carry us game in and game out in today's NFL in the year 2022. So Kadarius Toney, I think, is that player that takes this average, below average passing offense to, wow, the playbook opens up. And even if you just want to use him, manufacture targets. Did we not see that all, 2 of his touches that he had this past Sunday, that they were manufactured, and one of them should have been a loss of 5 yards, but he turned it into a positive game of 4. There was a 19-yard rushing play as well. I mean, come on. Even if it's just manufactured stuff and 15 snaps and you want to take him out, I still feel like that changes this offense. So if the Giants want to prove this point, and Peter King earlier this summer said when he was talking about the new regime and Joe Shane and Brian Dable and the Giants, that it feels like 90 guys, or at this point, I guess it's 53 guys, 63 guys, including the practice squad. Everybody is on audition. Everybody is trying to earn their spot with this new regime, because it's clear with Logan Ryan. It's clear with Blake Martinez. It is clear, not picking up Daniel Jones' 5th-year option. It is clear that your place on this team, even if you are somewhat an established player, it is not given. And Kadarius Toney being a first-round pick, that is also not given. But I simply disagree with it, because I think the team needs him.
Yeah, and again, like I said, Kadarius Toney can fix all of this by whatever's going on. I'm not going to make assumptions. But again, it helps. The team is better if he plays more snaps.
Yeah,
you can't dispute that. You cannot dispute that, and it's not because of the playbook. He's not mentally challenged. Okay, he can handle more than 4 passing plays in a game. Okay, and again, when people bring up the regime last year, well, that was a knock on the regime. Is that because once they were finally forced to play him, just because the numbers on the roster because of injuries, it was like, oh yeah, maybe we should play this guy a ton, because he came out, like, he even made a couple plays in that Falcons game when they didn't want to play him. Then New Orleans, he balls. The Cowboys game, he balls. The Rams game, he's balls for a series and then gets hurt. So, like, my argument wasn't like he needs to be out there for 85% of the snaps, but 7 is insane.
Right.
And again, if they're gonna trying to prove a point, I'm okay, but this can't go on throughout the whole season, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
unless we hear that there is something health-wise going on, then
it's not because
not.
you can't. It's in season. You can't not put stuff on the injury report, even if you're a full participant in practice. You just can't do it. Like, it's enforced. Like, you'll get fined.
Still a lot of people that will
trouble if you don't.
But there's still a lot of people that are thinking that, oh, well, they're just trying to do the load management thing with Toney. I don't think that's it. There is something else happening.
Load management would be 18 snaps, not 7.
There is something happening behind the scenes that we don't fully know with Kadarius Toney and the Giants. There is something happening.
Yep. I agree with that 100%. So I just want this to be worked out. I'm not taking sides on this. I just want this to be worked out. And part of being a coach is handling personalities.
Yeah.
And they're not always going to be the easiest people to deal with. And this is a team that has a bunch of guys who are easy to deal with.
And you're making yourself worse. That's the thing. Like, again, don't know what happened.
Kadarius Toney can run a slant. He can run a dig. He can run an out route.
Don't know what happened with Blake Martinez. You intentionally made yourself worse by releasing him. There's no denying that. Logan Ryan, different story, but you still intentionally made a very weak secondary worse by releasing him. So, like you said, figure it out.
But you can make arguments like those guys aren't here for the long term. But Kadarius Toney should be a huge piece going forward.
Yes.
So let me read an ad and then we'll go to the next question.
Yeah, please.
The NFL's opening week was action-packed, and it's just getting started, people. It really was action-packed. Get ready for week 2 of touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. Want more action? Everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. This Sunday, you bet on any NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. How about that? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code
JOMBOY, JOMBOY,
to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code
JOMBOY.
Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, Justin, next question.
Next question. Primortality at Primortality 1. Do you think this win should change our expectations about the season, or was it the Giants overachieving for a week?
I don't think it was necessarily overachieving because I didn't, it wasn't some like fluke game. Like the offense felt like, like I'm not saying Saquon's going to do it every week, but like if anything, I expect the passing game to be better going forward. The defense, Here's what I'll say. Out of good teams that we could have played, I do think the Tennessee Titans were about as good as a matchup as you could have found. One, they were just dedicated. They're dedicated to the run game, and Wink Martindale, he stacked the box almost all game long. Let's see. He stacked the box on 36 out of 56 snaps, and a lot of those snaps still had like 7-8 guys in the box, but they'd run 22 personnel with 2 tight ends and a fullback. So they would match it and just and flow to the side that the fullback would go. So they stacked the box all game. That played into the Giants' defense's hand. And
did you feel like the Titans were trying to force the run when it wasn't there, and they should have thrown the ball more?
And they had a bad wide receiver group too.
But they were still moving the ball well effectively through the air.
But they weren't able to be consistent with it. They got good chunk play. So that's my thing is I think offensively, the Giants will be better. So that could be the argument that, maybe raise your expectations a little bit. But defensively, this was a pretty good matchup. That being said, we might have some good matchups going forward. Dak Prescott going down is significant. Like, we're a better team than the Cowboys without Dak Prescott and Tyron Smith.
Dude,
Cooper Rush was our fourth string quarterback in 2020, and then we cut him.
Well, I mean, you're talking about team. I still think the Cowboys have a better team. I mean, their defense is
good. But their
good.
quarterback is going to be so bad.
Well, right. That's the thing. That's why quarterback is so important, that I would still, pick the Giants to win because of the quarterback situation. This Panther game worries me, man, and we'll talk about it.
I think the Panthers are a tougher matchup than people are giving it credit for.
Yeah, I don't think the Panthers are going to be so committal to the run like the Titans were. And I also think the Panthers are, maybe...
They have a good wide receiver group. And I think McCaffrey is a worse matchup for our defense than Derrick Henry.
Yes. I mean, who really killed the Giants more than Derrick Henry in the running back room was Hilliard. And that was him in the receiving game, right? Catching those 2 touchdowns. And Christian McCaffrey is certainly known for catching the football out of that backfield as well. But even the wide receivers, like you said, we'll talk about it during the Panther preview. And, I'm sure Bobby, whoever has up a sleeve to interview, is going to give you more of a good look at those guys than I will right now. But it's tough because right now, even though the Titans... they didn't consistently throw the ball well, but the Giants pass defense, according to DVOA, which is basically just an efficiency metric, they have them ranked 31st after 1 week, which to me, just based off of my eye test, like that makes sense because the Titans were moving the ball well through the air when they actually wanted to commit to throwing the ball.
Yeah, I mean they got big chunk plays. They got a lot of chunk plays in that game.
And you can make an argument that Baker is an upgrade over Tannehill. And
I wouldn't say that.
You can make an
argument. But the wide receivers are I wouldn't make that argument up, but the wide receivers are significantly better.
I don't think the system, I think Ben McAdoo's offense is worse than, what they got cooking with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee.
Yeah. I don't want to guess, but here's my thing though, where it's like you get excited, is I think the Panthers are the toughest matchup in the next 3 weeks.
Sure. But I mean, 2.5. So here's the question. Do you think we should change our expectations about the season? I'm going to change my expectations about the season if we can defeat the Carolina Panthers at home when we are 2.5-point favorites. Home opener, your favorite to win. You're coming off a tough, gritty win where you were 5.5-point underdogs on the road, right? Get better offensively this week. Hopefully we get some guys back, which we're going to talk about next. And let's win this game. Like, that would be I'm now going to start to rethink of changing my expectations for this year, which really my expectations for this year was 8 wins anyway, so I guess I'm not going to change it. But
yours are already high.
I'm just going to believe it a lot more. Yeah.
Daniel Jones has to be better because Daniel Jones didn't have a great game. But I do expect Daniel Jones to be better than what he was.
Yeah, I don't care about completion percentage. I care about sustaining drives, and I care about scoring points, and I care about big plays. So if we can have more than 120-plus yard passing play, and really the only other 2 passing plays that we had of 15-plus yards, Bobby, it was at garbage time. It was like a garbage time, whether it's 3rd and longs or it was at the end of the first half. So really, that passing offense was not very good, and it does need to be better. And I trust that it will be better at home.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is a better. This is not saying he's a franchise quarterback, but he's a better quarterback than what we saw in Week 1.
Yeah, offensive line has to hold up too. Like, that was a huge part of Daniel Jones's game, where Daniel Jones was still super, super pressured. So that offensive line has to hold up too. I don't think we'll again, Panther preview. We'll talk about it. All right, next question. This gets to expectations about the season. Chris at Life NYG, how much better do you think this defense gets when Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari return?
It's got him. Wink Martindale called. He didn't do what people expected. They blitzed like 31% of the time, but almost all of those blitzes came on that last drive of the game, which they started blitzing. They ran a lot of cover 3, cover 1 type of stuff. They didn't run any cover, like real cover zeros. They showed some looks. They weren't in a ton of man. They, cover 3 turns into man coverage. So they did some different stuff. It wasn't what you would fully expect out of Wink Martindale. But that being said, they couldn't get any pass rush. Even when they did blitz, they couldn't get pass rush. There was, our edge and D linemen got 4 QB hits and 0 sacks. I'm not counting Ryan Tannehill being tackled at the line of scrimmage as a sack on the sideline. And like I saw Shane Zimenez had a high PFF grade. I watched him or pass rush grade. I was like, I don't see it. Like he had the 1 QB hit that was nice, but besides that, like he didn't do much. Jahad Ward played really well in the run game. Really well in the run game.
I tried hyping him up during Monday's show, and you were kind of dismissing it a little bit.
It's just so hard to see 25 guys in a game where it's like,
Well, I saw it. Screw you.
But I'm gonna clip his stuff up. He did play, but he didn't add anything as a pass rusher.
Yeah.
In fact, they would drop him back a lot. Leonard Williams didn't dominate the way that he should have. Dexter Lawrence was their best pass rusher. Like Dexter
I think he
Lawrence
got 2 QB hits.
Yeah, he was their best pass rusher by far on Sunday. Like no one was even close to doing what he did. And do you guys remember Dexter Lawrence just dominating in the pass rush game? No. So yeah, Kayvon and Azeez, man, they're gonna make a huge impact. I'm not putting huge expectations on Kayvon. He didn't ball against backups in the preseason, but Azeez looks like he's taking a step forward, and we saw Azeez put up good production last year. So I think Azeez would make a huge difference, and he fits what this scheme does better, and I think it's going to play to his strengths better than the last defense.
I do want to put some lofty expectations on those two, if and when they
Azeez,
come back.
But I'm not expecting
look at the
rookie of the year from
tackles.
Kayvon.
Look at the tackles on the offensive linemen that we have coming up the next 3 weeks, Bobby. Look at them.
Yeah, I'm just mean for the whole year. I'm not expecting
right.
Kayvon to dominate week in, week out as a rookie. And then we came into the game talking about how bad Nicholas Petit-Frere, he was not good. He was not a really good tackle in college. You know who the only rookie tackle who started a game to not give up a QB hit or a sack this week? Nicholas Petit-Frere. Okay, that's how bad our edge presence was. So for him to not give up pressure is crazy. So yeah, I do think these guys make a significant difference.
Huge.
Because there was no pass rush there, and that makes a big deal. The middle of the field was open for the Titans all game long when they were in zone, because they were able to do play action, and just Ryan Tannehill was able to sit there in the pocket with no pressure. There was no pressure on him almost all game.
Yeah. Yeah, everything that we hear from NFL people, or everything that we hear from former people that have covered the AFC that talk about Wink Martindale, or they cover the Ravens, is that Wink Martindale is one of the few defensive coordinators in the NFL that is going to dictate how the game is played on defense instead of the other way around, where Patrick Graham was very much, I'm going to let the offense dictate what they want to do, and I'm going to expect my defense to adjust. I think that's kind of what the Giants' personnel was last year, but Wink Martindale wants to take it to you, and he kind of wasn't able to, because just of that lack of front seven talent that they had last week. So hopefully they make it back.
Yeah, I'm longing to watch those guys, because it was, watching the edge players in the pass rush game. It's like, might be the most boring. I'd give me Kyler Fackrell or something like that. It was brutal to watch.
Next question, Tobias Cole Magna at Tobias_0709. Do you think Josh Ezeudu improving enough in the second half to merit a start against Carolina? Or should Ben Bredeson rotate with him while Ezeudu learns the ropes?
Here's the thing. Ben Bredeson sucked too.
But I don't think he sucked as bad as Ezeudu.
No, he didn't, at least in the pass blocking game. Now, part of me is like, so here's the thing: is going against Jeffrey Simmons sucks, because he's awesome, man.
He's
like you
beast.
watch it, when you watch him for a full game, it's like, this guy's amazing. Probably a top 3 defensive tackle in the NFL. But Ezeudu's stuff was much more than Jeffrey Simmons being a beast. I even talked with the Bills are playing the Titans, and I talked with the Cover 1 guys today, and they brought it up unprovoked. They're like, Josh Ezeudu, oh my god, Like he wasn't just bad because he was getting beat. Like his hand usage was absolutely garbage. He was overextending himself, off balance, being too aggressive and then too passive. He just looks like a mess, man. And I just don't think that's going to improve by playing. I think that the things he needs to work on are going to improve on him working individually as an offensive lineman and not game planning. You know, I talked about it with Darnay on Sunday that NFL coaching isn't the best coaching in the world. It's the best game plan in the world. That's what they do. They honestly, you talk to players, and for the most part, position coaches lack coaching up players at playing their spot. But what they do is they prepare you for the opponent. That's the elite coaching you get at the NFL level. So I just think Ezeudu needs to work on his game, man. Like, and we can talk about him in the run game in a second. But the pass blocking, it blows up an offense. You know, like that fumble on Daniel Jones. That's stuff you can't have. Okay, that was going to be a nice 18-yard chunk play. Daniel Jones did a great job manipulating a defender. He was going to make a tight window throw. David Sills was going to get his first catch, and nope, it's a strip sack. And just to put whoa, how bad is this? Is pass blocking? Shane Lemieux never had a game even anywhere near as bad as this as a rookie.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Shane Lemieux gets a lot of flack now because because he's not a good pass blocker. You know, and Ezeudu gets love because he's the new toy and he's athletic. And yeah, he did make some plays in the run game. But, this is how games are tanked. It literally caused a turnover. And, causing any kind of turnovers on this Giants offense is not good. So I'm with you, man. I am adamant that Josh Ezeudu cannot really play. If there's a drive where I don't really want to Joe Judge it where I guess we're going to put in this guard because he's a good run blocker and we want to run the ball this series. I don't want it to be like that.
O-linemen hate that.
I know, and that's like what they were doing with Bredesen and Ezeudu. They were doing it. They were kind of Joe Judging it for a hot sec where Bredesen was playing some series, Ezeudu was playing some series.
Yeah, they rotated 5 times.
And I think that was the plan. I don't think
that was the plan.
I don't think they looked at Ben Bredesen after that first series, says, yikes, you're not good, and then they just kept flipping back and forth. So clearly was the plan. I don't fully love that. So
I almost would like to see Devery Hamilton there. But yeah, it's just, and again, I want him to sit, not because I don't believe in him, but because I want to give him the best opportunity to be a good player eventually. I think that's the best for his long-term development. Like Shane Lemieux's rookie struggles, playing will help improve those. With Ezeudu playing, I just don't think it's going to help. Like, he's got real issues, and you don't want to destroy a dude's confidence.
Yeah.
So I think he needs. But with all that said, he did look good in the run game. You see the athleticism, the ability to move and flip his hips, get to the second level.
The first touchdown.
Oh, pancake the dude.
And then the 2-point conversion. Those two things don't happen without Josh Ezeudu making some pretty good blocks. So,
yeah. So it's a question of how much do you value that, But I just think what's best for him long term is to not play right now.
Yeah,
it sucks Shane Lemieux's out. It really does suck that Shane Lemieux's injured.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, so before we get to the next question, we got to talk about Athletic Greens and AG1. I started taking AG1 because I wanted better gut health. I wanted more energy. I got to tell you what I didn't bring. Now, AG1 and Athletic Greens, they do offer travel packs, and bad guy move on me. I did not take any of my travel pack size AG1 products with me to start off my day. Just pour a cup of water and I can, put a scoop of AG1 right in there. I didn't take anything with me. So my energy is kind of low right now. And I need this energy because Bobby and I, we're grinding. It's the first week of football. So we're putting out all this content for you. I wanted to optimize my immune system and I wanted to get more healthy in general. So what is this stuff? It's the one thing with the best things. Athletic Greens uses the best of the best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third-party testing. Recommended by professional athletes. For every purchase, we donate to organizations helping to get nutritious food to kids in need, including No Kid Hungry in the U.S. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/giants. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/giants to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
All right, next question.
Next question is Dylan Davis at _ the Dylan Davis _. What were your thoughts on the Giants linebackers this game?
So we just talked about a rookie not being ready to play. I think Michael McFadden should play. He got some reps on Sunday. So I'll talk about Tay Crowder because Tay Crowder's going to play going forward regardless of if Michael McFadden plays. He was put in some tough spots in coverage. So if you look at his coverage stats, it's not going to be good. But he also had some bad moments in coverage too. Not IDing some stuff right away. In the run game, I thought he was fairly well. Like he made some good plays in the run game. He wasn't every game, every play, but again, playing like he did his rookie year in a gap responsibility scheme where it's like, hey, play your gap and go. He looked a lot better than he did last year. Like I will say that. Like there was significant improvement in the run game compared to last year. But Austin Calitro looks bad, man. He looks worse in coverage. He did not fulfill his gap responsibility on some plays. And even when he's just like playing downhill, man, he doesn't have the power. Like he doesn't have the power to blow things up, and he doesn't have the speed. I think he has a bad plan of attack taking on blocks. And again, this guy's a 28-year-old journeyman. He's barely played in the NFL. He's been on practice squads galore. He was signed in training camp and we thought nothing of it. We didn't even make a tweet when we signed this guy. So I think it's time for Micah McFadden. He had some good reps. He showed some instincts and aggression. And again, we're comparing him to Austin Calitro. We're not saying just play the young guy. I think Micah McFadden should play.
Yeah, I get a lot more excited about seeing Micah McFadden play than Austin Calitro. I'll be honest, Bobby Skinner.
And I think McFadden would be a significant upgrade in coverage.
Yeah, and I don't think that's really saying much, but I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, if we want to do the whole play the kids type of thing, Mike McFadden is prime for that. He plays fast, loose, and aggressive. Let him come out there, play on this Wink Martindale defense. They need some pass rush help. He's the linebacker that's going to give you that best pass rush ability. So we could see that. The hit that Tay Crowder had on Derrick Henry. Go watch Micah McFadden on that play. He does a great job seeing his gap, shooting it, and dipping around. Like if Tay Crowder actually filled his gap. He didn't get over the block on time against Taylor Lewan, but he's still able to make the big hit. If he got to his gap on time on that play, Micah McFadden would have had a tackle for loss because Derrick Henry would have had to go to the play side on that instead of cutting back. So, I think the Giants probably are like. I don't think this is one of those things where it's like where for 4 weeks we're asking for Micah McFadden. I do think the Giants will realize this, and play him. Maybe not fully starting every snap next week, but I think there'll be more of a snap share next week than there was last week.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. All right, next question. Michael Luisi at Michael Luisi 13. I think by the end of this season, Andrew Thomas will deserve to be looked at as the OT1 from his draft class and as one of the single best tackles in football. Is that heavily biased, or do you think that's a realistic expectation for him?
It is absolutely not biased, and it is realistic, and we are here. He is so good, man. He really is good. Maybe we haven't had awesome players in a long time, so we don't know how to act around them, but he is awesome, man. He made Bud Dupree look like a bad pass rusher on Sunday. Like Bud Dupree, and they were doing the analytics on how fast Bud Dupree's get off is. He looked like a bad play. He looked like a bad football player. He looked like O'Shane Ximines when he was facing Andrew Thomas.
Oh,
it was brutal. And so it's like, okay, well, what about the rest of the league? It's not about just beating Bud Dupree. Well, guess what? He was top 10 in all pass blocking stats last year on bum ankles. Not one ankle, on bum ankles. Rashawn Slater was an all-pro last year. Andrew Thomas is better than him. And so the tackles who are the best and pass blocking efficiency, which is, formulating your sacks, pressures, and QB hits and dividing it by snaps. Andrew Thomas was ranked 9th in the NFL last year. 5 of the guys ahead of him were right tackles. One of them's retired and Andrew Whitworth. And then Tyron Smith, who's injured. That leaves as the top 2 left tackles in the NFL right now. Trent Williams and Andrew Thomas in pass blocking efficiency. He's here, and he looks better than last year. And those are numbers from last year, and he looks better. And he looked good. Now, here's the thing where you can pump the brakes a little bit. He was good in the run game on Sunday. I want to see more dominant reps. We saw some really good reps, but his rookie year, man, we saw some dominant run reps. Part of that was the scheme. They were playing, inside a lot of gaps inside the tackle stuff, and playing next to Shane Lemieux, who, those guys work together really well in the run game. So I want to see some more of that, but this is a passing league. This guy belongs in the Pro Bowl, getting all-pro votes. I'm not going to sit here and say he needs to be the all-pro tackle, but he deserves votes. He's real deal. And again, the reason he doesn't get talked about a lot is because he played on a bad team the first 2 years. Now he's on a great team with the Giants going undefeated. And the fact that his rookie year was a struggle. Like, you know what pisses me off more than anything? People have been like, Thomas wasn't bad last year. He improved a lot. No. Kiss my ass. He was awesome last year. He was better than all those other young tackles that you guys like to hype up. And just because he doesn't want to train with your facility doesn't mean he doesn't deserve the hype. That's part of it too. So Andrew Thomas runs his own race. He stays quiet. He does his job. Man, he's awesome. And again, I have the numbers to back it up. It's time for him to start getting respect around the league. And every single week I'm gonna share his stuff. And I'm gonna say, share to spread awareness. I hate when people say spread awareness because what does awareness do? No, we need to spread awareness on who Andrew Thomas is.
Yeah, especially when you were breaking down his independent hand usage, which I think didn't he talk about that in the interview with us?
Yes.
That's one of the things that he wants to improve on, but it's just something, it looked like high level tackle shit when he's like using his one hand to set up leverage on where he wants a defender to go and where he wants an edge rusher to go. He's extending a guy with like a stem in the middle of a pass rush move and then getting both hands back on. You broke it down. It's sophisticated tackle shit that we haven't seen from Andrew Thomas yet, which means that he's getting better. He literally told us, in that big black sexy van that he wants to get better at it. And then lo and behold, boom, we saw it week 1. He got better at it. So another solid test next week against Brian Burns. And then, wherever in the world Micah Parsons lines up, you got Sam Williams.
Please give us Andrew Thomas versus Micah Parsons. I want it so badly. I want it so badly.
Well, be careful what you wish for there, Bobby Skinner. But I would like to see it too, just as a football fan, because that would be really cool. Yeah, so I'm really pumped for AT, really pumped for Andrew Thomas, and keep those ankles healthy, bud. Let's do it.
Next question.
Tucker Cherry, at Tucker_Cherry. After week 1, how are we feeling about Aaron Robinson's outlook on the season?
I'll say this. I think we got a new corner to worry about with this New York Giants defense. Aaron Robinson, he looked solid. Like, he wasn't a great game. But, he was targeted 4 times, allowed 2 completions for 28 yards. He had a pass breakup on a 3rd down that was really good. I went through that on the film review. Yeah,
Pro Football Reference had him on the hook for 5 targets, 2 completions, 28 yards. Only 9 yards after the catch, which I like to see, and only 19 air yards, which is cool.
He did get beat on that deep throw to Treylon Burks, where the safety, but they did have Xavier McKinney came over the top, that probably should have been called pass interference.
Aaron Robinson is going to get beat on deep balls this year, but it's just going to be a matter of let me finish though. It's going to be a matter of, can he finish and make a play on the football if it's not a perfectly placed football? And can Xavier McKinney, Julian Love, can a safety come over the top and make a play on the football? I mean, I think Aaron Robinson is going to get beat by the deep ball, but it's just a matter of, can somebody make a play on the football? And then how many times is it going to happen per game?
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, we were playing a bad overall wide receiver core. Adoree Jackson actually did follow Robert Woods. Like, even one time, Robert Woods lined up at running back, and Adoree Jackson's in the box over top of him. So I'm not going to overreact to Aaron Robinson's performance, but it was a solid performance, but I'm not overreacting to that. Here's the thing you should react to. We talk about fitting a scheme. Darnay Holmes does not fit this scheme. He was targeted 7 times, gave up 4 completions for 53 yards. He had 2 bad penalties on third down. Not ticky-tack, ugly penalties. There was other plays where the ball went to the other side, and it's like Darnay got burnt on this. He gave up 53 yards. There's 4 in his career. He's given up more than that 4 times. 2 of those were in his first 3 games in his rookie year in 2020. One of them was last year. And again, that was against Kyle Phillips, who was a 5th round rookie out of UCLA. He does not. We talked about it.
Oh, it's happening.
I was sneezing. We talked about in his player profile projection about how like Darnay is a solid player in the last scheme, but he doesn't fit this, man, and he's got to improve fast because it was bad and it was worrisome.
Yes.
So this question wasn't about Darnay Holmes, but I had to get that. I mean, watching him was not fun this week, man. And we like Darnay, but he might be like number 1 target by Giants fans by week 6.
No, and I think it's a shame that Flott, I think he looks worse at this point. We talked about in our Camp Battles episode, you picked Darnay, I picked Cordell Flott, and it kind of was a reflection on how I just felt about Darnay Holmes in this system in particular. I think Darnay Holmes is a starting caliber corner, just not in this Wink Martindale system. I just don't think it's going to fully work out.
Yeah, it's just they want to play man coverage, man, and he just does not fit in that. And you saw in the beginning of last year, when Patrick Graham was trying to play more man coverage, they were phasing out Darnay, because they wanted to play more man coverage. So I feel for the guy, but it hasn't been great. All right, let me read an ad, and we'll finish this podcast off with a couple last questions. Siegel Law Firm is a New York City-based personal injury and civil rights law firm. What separates them? They truly care about their clients. They have what they like to call a Jerry Maguire type approach, where the primary concern is extreme client attention. That means clear, regular communications with clients, keep you updated on your case, and providing assistance with medical providers and insurance issues. Have you seen Jerry Maguire? We've read this ad a few times. Have you seen Jerry Maguire?
No, I have not. I've only seen 2 movies in my life. I know Show Me the Money is a line in it, and We Live in a Cynical World. I think that's also a line in the movie.
Dude, watch Jerry Maguire. They hire the right experts and put every case in the best chance to succeed. They treat clients like family and have incredible client satisfaction as a result. A lot of firms say this. They actually do it. They do. Treating clients like family is just one of their core values, and every decision they make is run through their core values. I really appreciate that. The misconception that you cannot afford a lawyer is not true. There is no cost to consult Siegel Law Firm and no out-of-pocket costs when they handle your case. You don't pay anything until we recover for you, and we then share a percentage of that recovery. There is nothing to lose. Do not disqualify your case for no reason. Give Siegel Law Firm a call at 646-810-3337 or visit them at Siegel-lawfirm.com to get legal support you need. That's SEGAL-lawfirm.com. You'll be glad you did.
You'll be glad you did. All right, we got 2 questions left, Bobby. At GoDogs, at Glock_Roach_. What are your thoughts on Bobby Johnson and the run game?
There's more effort on getting outside the tackles. A lot of pinning, down blocks and pulling guys. I think they're going to try and take advantage of the athleticism of the offensive line overall. Like Ezeudu is really athletic. Thomas is athletic. Lewinsky's athletic. Neal's athletic for his size. Feliciano's not, but putting him at, he looked good when he was pulling, and they did pull him a little bit. So I think they need to get a little better between the tackles, but they look fine. Like the run game, obviously they did. Saquon balled, and the run game gave him holes. So it's the best run game they have, and it's staying diverse. The Bills lost Bobby Johnson obviously and added Aaron Cromer. They have focused on just being a zone running scheme. Where one of the critiques of Bobby Johnson and Dable is they didn't have like an identity to the run game, so they're going to stay diverse with it. But felt really good about it week one. Like they gave Saquon space. Man, there was some other plays of Saquon, by the way, too, that toss play where it's like that might have been his best cut of the entire day. Like he really is like, oh my gosh, like you kind of did forget how freaking amazing this guy was when he was right.
Two things I want to talk about. There was a big discrepancy on left-hand side and right-hand side. One game sample size, so we'll continue. We'll see if this continues to go in this direction. Left-hand side, when the ball went to the left, 8 carries, 140 yards, touchdown, 17.5 yards per carry. And then when the ball went to the right side, when it was run to the right side with Saquon Barkley, 10 carries, 24 yards, 2.4 yards per carry as well. Something that I thought was very, very interesting and I loved, 10 out of Saquon Barkley's 18 rushing attempts came from out of the shotgun. And I love that. And I really think that was attributed to, when you look at that number, I know you don't like this next-gen number, but 5% of Saquon Barkley's runs had 8 or more men in the box. That is a very, very low rate. And I think that's attributed to Mike Kafka, Brian Dable. They like to spread out the field. They're running out of the shotgun. They're keeping things unpredictable. So for week one, those are some trends that I like. But maybe the balance between the left hand and the right hand side, why do you think that happened?
I think it's just as simple as Thomas and Ezeudu block better.
Sure.
Evan Neal had some bad running reps. Glowinski didn't overly impress. I think it's really just that simple. It's Thomas and Ezeudu block better, and they ran some, and they just ran some of their tosses and design outside runs were to the left as well too. Like the one play that went outside the tackles on the right was when Saquon bounced it for 15 yards. And again, like Evan Neal, I talked about in the Olin report, had 2 bad down blocks and it allowed, tackles for loss. So that comes into it too. I think it's just simply just players playing better.
Yeah. No, but just watching your O-line report and then watching the film overall, huge breath of fresh air to see linemen moving and how getting those linemen moving create space for Saquon Barkley.
That's why teams want to run outside the tackles.
Yeah.
And that's why you draft. That's why teams are moving towards just drafting more athletic. Josh Ezeudu, who's a project, but he is athletic. So,
even there was one play where, was this the 33-yarder where Glowinski and Daniel Bellinger had to make a decision on who was going to get who and who was going to get a hat
going
on
fast at 100 miles per hour. If you're going to make a mistake, do it quick. Do it at 100 miles an hour, and that's what they did.
Get in front of somebody. You don't need to blow anybody up, but just get in front of somebody. And Saquon Barkley is gonna, especially when he's as explosive as he's looking right now, he's gonna get past you quick. So the way that they approached the running game this week, I think it totally fits Saquon Barkley's strengths. Even though Saquon Barkley didn't really pop anything from out of the shotgun, I think on an efficiency basis, Saquon Barkley is more effective running out of the shotgun than under the center in the long run. And I think it's been that way for his entire career, because there's less likely that you're going to have a stacked box when you're running out of the shotgun than you are under center. So I'm really excited for this rushing offense and when they choose to run the ball.
Run the damn ball.
Run the damn ball.
Buy the shirts. All right, last question, Justin.
Mosi Matalon. How have the route trees changed since last year, and are the wide receivers creating more separation than last year?
Quite significantly, they are different than last year. Where last year, it was very much routes that were isolated and were based on timing and doing everything at perfect timing and pre-snap. There's more long developing plays in this offense. There's a lot of guys clearing out space. They ran stick a few times, but it was different than the Jason Garrett stick. They had guys clearing out space. they're working off of each other, where it puts a defender in conflict. Where it's like, hey, this guy's covering this zone. Well, guess what? We're going to put 2 people in this area, and that guy's going to have to make a choice, and we're going to throw the other way. So there's that. You see some stuff from – you actually do see some stuff from DJ's rookie year as far as concepts. Like, we didn't see a smash concept, which is just basically like one high, one low, one side read. We didn't see any of that the last 2 years. We saw it a ton his rookie year. That's back in this offense. So there's that. And the check down, the checkdowns are in the middle of the field. That's something we talked about, where Daniel Jones is better at getting to his checkdowns in the middle of the field. Now, maybe watching the game last week, it's like maybe flare it out so he's not so eager to get to it. But we've always talked about when especially his rookie year, there's not really, you don't throw the checkdowns too much in the Jason Garrett offense. But his rookie year, it's like he just struggled to get his checkdowns, except for when Caden Smith came in and was kind of like that checkdown outlet. So that's how it's changed. You got anything else to add to that before we get out of here?
In terms of wide receivers creating separation, I don't love looking at wide receiver separation stats. I guess we'll look at that more as we get more of a sample size. But a metric that I love looking at on NFL Next Gen is aggressiveness percentage, which that basically measures how often is a quarterback throwing into tight windows. So, Bobby, from this past week, Daniel Jones had the 3rd lowest aggressiveness percentage with 4.8. So 4.8% of Daniel Jones's passing attempts were considered tight window throws. I want you to guess last year, Bobby. So he was 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in the NFL last year in the highest number of tight window throws. What do you think that percentage was?
45%?
No, way lower. I'll edit that out. So it was 18%. 18%. So that's almost 1 out of every 5 passing attempts where Daniel Jones is, the next gen data, the player tracking data is considering that it is a tight window throw. So that's quite an improvement right there, right? And it also leads to yards after the catch, which hopefully we will get more as kind of the weeks go on as well. Yards after the catch and not having guys that are just so on top of you, having guys that you're actually throwing to that are open is quite helpful. So again, excited to see how this passing offense can progress and how Daniel Jones can progress within it as well.
All right, that's an episode. We'll be back Friday for a game preview. Very excited. Interview Danny King. You guys can all apologize to Danny King for doubting his weather reports. So we appreciate you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Hope you enjoyed this. Tell your friends. Until then, let's go Big Blue.